The FBI. Oh, yeah, I said it. The FBI. The people who've been what they've been for the last 70, 80 years have shown once again their true colors. Regardless of what you think about what they're doing with Donald Trump, it's important to remember exactly who the FBI is and what they've always been about. A story just broke this week showing that the FBI was spying on one of the activists from Ferguson after who was a part of the original Black Lives Matter protests after Mike Brown was murdered by Darren Wilson. This young man's name was Darren Seals, better known as King D. He was one of several Ferguson, Missouri activists who died violently and mysteriously. They all died mysteriously in the years after they had been involved in a protest over the 2014 police shooting of Michael Brown. In September 16, he was found shot and killed in his car, which had been set on fire. Now, this murder was never solved. And of course, a lot of people believed that his death may have happened at the hands of law enforcement. I wonder why people would believe that. Now, we found that the FBI had been surveilling him the entire time. In fact, the Bureau has a 900-page file on this young man. But the vast majority of the information in the file has been redacted. Yes, redacted. According to the Riverfront Times, the FBI file describes Seals as a self-described revolutionary who has espoused somewhat militant rhetoric and has access to weapons. Now, they didn't say he has a weapon, just that he has access to weapons. Like, who in the hood doesn't have access to weapons? Come on. I mean, I could walk right outside here on 5th Avenue and go get a gun in like 10 minutes if I really wanted to. Now, but for the most part, his file is a huge document full of redacted info. One of the few things it does reveal is that the FBI had police officers stop him for no apparent reason. Wow. I really want people to understand what we lost when we lost Darren Seals. This was a real revolutionary-minded young man he was from the streets. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. This was a guy from the streets, like Huey Newton and Bobby Seale, and Eldridge Cleaver, and all those Bunchy Carter and Fred Hampton. So the language he used was very much like them, very harsh rhetoric. But that's exactly the type of revolutionary-minded individual who we need in this community to be the new leaders. Because the old bourgeoisie, Congressional Black Congress, NAACP type Negroes have been bought and sold and paid for many years. Let's just be real, folks. And they're too comfortable. They are absolutely too comfortable. And he was calling a lot of people out. He called Black Lives Matter out. He made a whole video calling out Black Lives Matter in 2014. for being frauds. Now I'm going to play this video. I redacted a lot of the language because a lot of it's harsh. But this is what he had to say about Black Lives Matter, the organization, in 2015.
But we talking about Black Lives Matter campaigns. But they all the same. Like, they all run together. It's this little gay cult. Twitter fingers, like my man Cap call them. Twitter activists. Cause they don't do it, but they don't do shit but tweet while we was in the streets, you know, turn shit up, you know, protest. You know, I mean, certain people was protesting, certain people was rioting, certain people was, you know, organizing and, you know, making moves. They was just sitting back tweeting, Twitter fingers, you know. I mean, we all put things on social media so the world could know, but they literally just sat there and tweeted the whole shit. So while they tweeted the whole shit, I mean, you know, white folk, black people ain't on Twitter. Like, how many of y'all on Twitter? Don't nobody be on Twitter. It's white folks. So while they tweeting, they playing cat and mouse with the white folks. You know, they racist. They hiding behind fake pages on Twitter, going back and forth, retweet. It's like a big show, you know. So you got a lot of people sending them money, turning them into stars. Oprah tweeting at her and all that. They calling her the face of Ferguson. Don't nobody know who she is. She ain't the face of shit. Wasn't even out there. When she came out there, she just sat there and tweeted. Like, what you face of Twitter? That's what I call them. But anyways, man, a lot of people don't understand Black Lives Matter as an organization. They think it's just a hashtag and people just saying, man, anytime white folks are part of it, they put it in the media, something behind it. Believe that. I mean, you got a Twitter, but you don't be on them. I ain't never seen you on Twitter. I got a Twitter too, but it's for real. Like, we use it for promo and like that, but we ain't really using it on Twitter. Anyways, feel free to comment and you know, give y'all opinions on this whole Black Lives Matter. But anyways, Black Lives Matter is a bunch of computer nerds. First of all, them being gay is I don't got nothing against them because they gay. I don't agree with the lifestyle of you know, of homosexuality, but I don't agree with a lot of shit people do. I'm not gonna dislike you because you do some shit people don't like, I don't agree with, ain't healthy for me in their eyes. So we just disagree on lifestyles, but that ain't why. But they use that as a shield when they doing all this. They try to come say, oh, he's just homophobic, he hated, man, my auntie been married to a woman since forever. Like, I don't agree with the lifestyle because I don't see a long-term benefit of it. You can't reproduce when you messing with a woman, mess with a woman, a man mess with a man. But that don't mean I hate you because I don't hate you for it. I ain't homophobic. Homophobia, I mean, you gotta be. A phobia is a fear. Anybody know me known for a especially nobody that's gay. I'm afraid of that for. So it ain't about that, but they'll use that to distract people, make them people think like, oh, don't take what he's saying serious because he's just some homophobic thug nigga. He's just, you know, angry. Oh, that. The whole time they was doing this, I was telling everybody. I met D-Ray in front of everybody. Half that's mad now took his side then. I'm like, how y'all taking this man's side? Why y'all taking this man's side? But he didn't use none of the money to help Ferguson, none of the money to help the Brown family. I mean, he was just collecting it, you know, building this little campaign off the. They try to run for office and all of that. The whole thing was a scheme, and I seen it early because I've been in St. Louis my whole life. Cops kill niggas here every day. People die here every day. Why all of a sudden all these people coming like pretend they care about it so much all of a sudden? That was my whole mentality. Like, where the f y'all come from? Where all this fake love come from? You know what I mean? If you weren't here before the media, I ain't take you serious. I don't know who you was. Tyler Quali, any of the other. I really ain't take none of them serious because at the end of the day, y'all came because of the media.
That was the late King D, Darren Seals, one of the original Ferguson black activists who was found dead in his car, burned beyond recognition after participating in the protest. There were actually 6 Ferguson activists around the same time, around 2015, 2016, 2017, who all were found dead. So it's not just King D. DeAndre Jordan's body was found inside a burned car. Once again, we had a burned car just blocks from the protest. The 20-year-old also was shot in the head before the car was torched. Marshawn McCarroll allegedly shot himself outside the front door of the Ohio State House. Edward Crawford allegedly shot himself after telling acquaintances he had been distraught over personal issues. A photo of Edward Crawford firing a tear gas canister back at the police during the Ferguson protest was part of the St. Louis Post-Dispatch's Pulitzer Prize-winning coverage. 24-year-old Danye Jones was found hanging from a tree in the yard of his St. Louis County home. Wow. His mother, Melissa McKinney, was an activist in Ferguson and posted on her Facebook page after her son's death, "They lynched my baby." Think about that, folks. They lynched my baby. Have any of y'all even heard from this woman, Melissa McKinney, on CNN, MSNBC, Fox, wherever? If you have, give me a call, 219-885-1371. The number again, 219-885-1371. But his death was ruled a suicide. Because I know lots of black people who hang themselves from trees in the 21st century. And a Palestinian American young man named Bassem Masri was 31 years old and frequently live streamed video of the Ferguson demonstrations. He was found unresponsive on a bus and could not be revived. Toxicology results released showed that he had died of an overdose of fentanyl. Let me get to these callers. Hello, callers.
What's going on, Scott?
It's all good, brother.
Hey, man, you on it again tonight, huh?
Well, I do what I do.
Hey, I hear you. You know, what you think about about the border? Let me hear your views.
Well, I personally think that they had... I think it's too much of a coincidence that all those young men chose to commit suicide and shoot themselves in the head and set their cars on fire.
Yeah? What you think about them Republican governors sending all them people to Martha's Vineyard?
Oh, well, as I said, I think it was a genius move.
You got that right, man. You know, Sweden having that problem right now.
Italy, too.
And like the lady said, they didn't have 500 bombings because of Sharia law.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they didn't have that until they started, you know, letting the immigrants in. Just the same thing what's happening in the United States. Same thing. And that's what had Angela Merkel. That's what had her to resign. I mean, she didn't run again.
Right.
She was through because she caught a lot of hell because she the one who first started that.
Yep.
And because of all that, they was having bombings. They was having, you know, women was getting raped, something that they wasn't used to having in their country, believe it or not. And they brought all this stuff up. Now, see, and it's getting ready to start a turmoil, my brother.
Absolutely.
And it's going to start a turmoil here, too, because now, dropping them off at the vice president's house, where Barack Obama got all that land, and built him a mansion that he don't even live in that house, but part-time.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they want to be sanctuary cities.
Mm-hmm.
Now, remember, we almost had that here.
Yeah, we're a welcoming city.
And the mayor got on and said the judge dismissed the case, and I asked him, well, who won filed? Because we turned if it wasn't for the city council, we would have had a sanctuary city.
Mm-hmm.
The city council turned it down. Jim Nowacki led all them white folks into the city council when they were detesting that detention center across the street from the airport. Now, can you imagine if they would have had that, that would have been a busy place because they would have been sending them out of here, brother.
Right.
So, and the cost of them jobs, them $25,000 a year jobs starting, they turned that down, man.
Absolutely.
You have so many people turning down jobs. You know, it's like these are job killers. You know, and then they want to harm why the streets ain't being fixed, and why we don't have this and why we don't have that. They've been turning down jobs here for the last 20 years plus.
Absolutely. Thank you for your call. I got to go to this next caller.
All right, there.
It's all good. Hello, caller.
Who would be they that hung my kid?
My kid who? Okay. Okay. I'm guessing it would be the government. You know, we know now. Strangely enough, the FBI was following Biggie Smalls when he was murdered as well. How many people do that? Yeah. When Biggie Smalls was murdered, he was, and this is a established fact. This isn't like a conspiracy theory. This is admitted. He was being followed by the FBI and knew he was being followed by the FBI. His younger cousin, Lil C's, a member of the Junior Mafia rap group that he put together, tells the story of how him and Big were hanging out in California just days before he was murdered. And he said there was these guys who were taking pictures of him all over, and they didn't look like paparazzis. He said, who are those professional looking dudes taking pictures of us? And he said Biggie told him, oh yeah, that's the FBI. The FBI's following us. Don't worry about it. So Biggie gets killed a few days later. Now, I'm not saying the FBI killed Biggie necessarily, but you better believe that they got pictures of who did. If they didn't, they know who did. Okay? Remember, the FBI used to follow Tupac home from school when he was a kid, because his parents were Black Panthers, and he'd see those vans following him on the way home from school. And yet you have black people now who try to tell us that the FBI are the good guys.